Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Patek Philippe Nautilus Chronograph, reference 59801R. You can see this Patek Philippe Flyback Chronograph on our website, watchyouwant.com. Purchase it there, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. You can also click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the video at any time to see our full listing for this watch with accessories included, high-res images, and naturally, complete pricing. Now on my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, 6.3 inches. The 59801R sits comfortable, secure, but massive. Now the watch is 40.5 millimeters across the round of the case, but as you can see from the numerous outcropping, including the traditional Nautilus wings, the crown, and the pushers of the chronograph, that round measurement is perhaps more of a hypothetical. Now the watch isn't terribly girthy, 12.5 millimeters thick. It has a nicely sloped case flank and bezel, so you can fairly easily fit this watch under a tight sleeve or dress cuff. Now, lug to lug, there are two ways to measure it. Strictly speaking, from lug to lug, extremity to extremity, it's 45.5 millimeters. But when you measure from the rigid-most outer point of the bracelet, effectively the flare point that determines the outermost rigid point for the sake of wrist overlap, you find that the watch is a more robust 51 millimeters from lug to lug, so it has a fair bit of span. The watch is bigger than its nominal size suggests, 40.5, but consider this one to wear closer to a 42 or a 43. And another reason for that is the sheer amount of gold that you're getting here. Now it is beautifully finished. As with every Patek Philippe Nautilus, you can see the amount of hand finishing that goes into this metalwork, alternately satin brushed top of the bezel to the polished flanks. The same kind of metalwork is seen on the case and the bracelet. And of course, this is the kind of bracelet that features far more than the usual brushed and polished surfaces. You can see the bevel on the flank of each individual link, each one hand finished to a beautiful mirrored shine. Now, the clasp itself is just as well thought out as the rest of the bracelet. Silky smooth on the wrist. The clasp, nevertheless, is almost completely unobtrusive. You can see the Patek Philippe Calatrava cross. Like the Rolex crown clasp on the President bracelet, it's the only indication of the partition point. Now, it is very secure in sports watch style. This one features a clamshell, but when it is closed, it is very secure, and every once in a while it will fight you as you try to open it up because the manufacturing tolerances are incredible. But when you open it up, you see that inside, completely high polished, every facet, not a single unfinished, raw stamped, machined, or unpolished edge. Everything here to the same standard as the bracelet, the case, the bezel, and indeed the movement itself. Now the face of the watch is the classic Patek Philippe Nautilus, albeit with a few nuances. Most notably, you can see the mono counter at 6 o'clock. Now this has been characteristic of every 5980 since the introduction of the type in 2006 for the 30th anniversary of the Nautilus range. The mono counter features both an hour and a minute register, so you have a essentially tri-register chronograph with chronograph center seconds and the mono counter, but you don't have the imbalance and crowding of a dial that can occur when you have multiple registers, and that keeps the classic striated Nautilus dial largely intact. There's also the beautiful gradient. Now this one has almost a black around the outermost circumference, around the seconds and minute track, and then it becomes more of an argent silver as it approaches the cannon pinion at center. And also, as this is a true sports reference, you can see that all of the indices as well as the baton hands at center are completely loomed, so you can see this one in low or no light. Now, because the caliber derives from the annual calendar 5960, you can see that there is a pusher corrector for the date, one of the few quirks of the watch, but because it has a modern vertical clutch architecture for the chronograph, even though it doesn't have a constant seconds indicator, if you want to simply leave the chronograph running continuously, you can do that with no hazard to the movement. With a vertical clutch, there's no extra wear and tear on the movement. Just wear this one daily so it can top itself off, as it will run down just a bit faster with the chronograph running continuously. Now, it is a flyback chronograph, a feature that's rarely mentioned when referencing the 5960 and the 5980, but you can simply restart the chronograph with a single pusher trigger at 4:30. So rather than having to do the conventional stop, reset, restart, the flyback, again, an under-advertised feature, is there if you want it. Now, the case back, let's pop open the clasp and take a deeper dive into the CH28-520 automatic winding caliber. This is a movement executed to the highest standards of the Patek Philippe manufacturer, but it's a little bit more modern than some of the other chronograph calibers they've used over the years. The manual winding chronograph's lateral clutch system has been eschewed for a vertical clutch, as we mentioned, but this one also incorporates some modern innovations in ceramic, unlubricated rotor bearings for higher winding efficiency, and a Cylinvar Spiromax anti-magnetic, or I should say amagnetic, silicon hairspring to pair with the traditional free-sprung Patek Philippe Gyromax balance system. Now, it does beat away at a modern 4 Hz. It's not an archaic 3 or 2.5 Hertz chronograph, so it has a modern beat rate, and it bears the Patek Philippe seal, which you can see on the bridge atop the circular Côte de Genève pattern. Everything is beautifully finished here. This is the same standard as when they were Poinçon de Genève finished prior to 2009. It's just that now the Patek Philippe standard incorporates elements of case finish, dial finish, and bracelet integrity that weren't previously considered. In fact, the Poinçon de Genève standard has actually been elevated in recent years to keep a pace of the changes introduced by the Patek Philippe seal. Now, the power reserve is approximately 45 to 55 hours, depending on whether or not you're running the chronograph. And the movement is immensely complex. With 35 jewels and over 320 components, you're getting a lot for your money with this watch. And on the wrist, you can feel a lot, as the mass of that gold case is impressive. This is the kind of watch that's as impressive eyes closed as it is eyes open. But either way, it's guaranteed to please. You can see it and you can buy it on our website, watchyouwant.com.